Welcome to the fourth day of the Small Communities Big Solutions Conference, our final day. I'm Sarah Payne-Scarborough, Associate VP for External Engagement at Marshall. Just like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week, we have an extremely impressive lineup. So we're going to review some logistics and some important announcements and then get started here this morning. Again, we thank our planning committee. We couldn't do it without them. They've put a lot of time and effort into this, planning 70 plus speakers, and what a phenomenal 4 days of programming. And also, we can't do what we do without loyal sponsors. And our program sponsor, United Bank, ARP West Virginia, Appalachian Power, the West Virginia School of Osteopathic Medicine, Marshall Health, Marshall University Research Corporation, and West Virginia Executive Magazine. Today is our community day. This day is purposely last so that we are inspired in our future work. We take this day and we carry on. You'll get to meet our 2022 Power Performance honorees, and they're spectacular. So we have a great morning session today. Andrew Dawson with United Bank is in the house. So is Concord University President Kendra Boggess and ARC Federal Co-Chair Gayle Manchin. We have 2 breakout sessions this afternoon. We're going to learn about an organization from Kentucky called SOAR. And Joshua Ball is actually a native West Virginia, and he has strong roots in West Virginia, and he's going to be talking about partnerships. And we are going to finish really strong today about a chat about community foundations, their importance, and how they can make your project successful. Now it's time for conference rules. Learn something new, take something back to your community. That's what Small Communities Big Solutions is all about. Is for us to learn and to inspire. You can check out today's calendar on wvsolutions.net. This serves as your online program book. We are here to celebrate, so let's be constructive throughout today. This is your last chance to take a photo and use the hashtag WVSolutions on social media for your chance to win a $25 gift card. And I have to say, I have 2 winners this morning. Brandon Whitehouse, you just won a $25 gift card, and Victoria Russo won as well. So congratulations to those 2. And we'll be giving them out throughout the breakout sessions as well. Remember that all sessions are recorded. And for those of you wanting continuing education credits, please put your name and email in the chat. This is how we're taking roll. And you got to try, last opportunity this year to try my game show giveaway. I believe that Trevor, my assistant, maybe even has a gold jacket that he's going to sport today, or we're going to try to have him sport today. And we have many returning champions. We've got to knock these people off, right? So come on, test your luck, test your knowledge about West Virginia, and we're giving away multiple $50 gift cards. It'll go a long way to help with holiday shopping and food for your festivities. Our call to action is let us do the valuations from this conference. You'll get an email with all the valuations. Please complete them. It just helps make our conference better for next year. Do the service projects in your communities. And do continue these conversations with the Small Communities Big Solutions family, as we're going to be hosting more meetings just like this. We did them this past year with workforce development, and we're going to be drafting recommendations for our state leaders and drafting some action items and possible projects. So please stay engaged with this community. If you have an idea, maybe you sit through a session and you say, man, we need to be doing this. Please email me. And we'll take those, we'll make a list, we'll package them up, and we'll continue to kind of explore those. My email is Sarah, SARA.Payne, PAYNE @marshall.edu. Please save the date, November 7th. It's going to be our next Small Communities Big Solutions Conference, November 7th, 2022. And please continue to work independently with the groups of the West Virginia Community Development Hub, Coalfield Development, and the Alliance for the Economic Development for Southern West Virginia, and especially our 40 Top series. Now, let's start our program. I have a wonderful honor this morning, and I would like to introduce Concord University's 12th president, Kendra Boggess. With a background and expertise in business education, Dr. Boggess truly understands our business community and is a very important part of the Alliance. She has supported the Alliance from day one, and she has a great team around her, and they're very supportive of the Alliance too, and of serving the community of Athens and Raleigh County and Southern West Virginia and the entire state. And ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm West Virginia welcome to President Boggess. Thank you, President Boggess. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Sarah. It is great to be here. I want to welcome everybody to the 4th day of a very excellent conference. It's kept us all engaged. It's kept us learning about our own solutions here in West Virginia to the challenges that we have and that we will face given the accelerating pace of change and the historical issues that West Virginia has seen. It's my honor to offer just a few thoughts this morning. In 2018, when Dr. Jerry Gilbert and Sarah Payne contacted me to discuss building an organization that would highlight Southern West Virginia and its opportunities, along with ways that we can look at its challenges, I thought it was a really great idea. Having a voice to be heard, even within the state, is sometimes difficult. And it seemed to me that having so many experts and citizens who are interested in finding solutions come together regularly would be a really productive use of the resources that we have, which many of which are time. We would have an opportunity to identify issues, to set goals for addressing them, and have a chance to vet the ideas with others while finding solutions. That was the beginning of Concord's interest in the Alliance. I am so thankful for the resources that Dr. Gilbert has provided to highlight Southern West Virginia and its people and to bring us together. Sarah Payne has done a remarkable job of organizing the members of the Alliance. I don't know how many of you have ever tried to get 13 presidents to get together on a regular basis, but that has to be a challenge. And to bring our own representatives from each of our institutions together in order to find new ways to work together, to communicate with one another. We're even writing grants together to serve regional interests, and that's been both interesting and helpful. It's been really interesting during the conferences that I've attended to learn how some of our small rural communities have been meeting the challenges they faced and what vibrant hubs they've become in their parts of the state. That also provides us the knowledge about other communities that need help, and having those newly vibrant communities share their solutions is helpful and inspiring. We're making progress, I believe, and Concord is really proud to be part of this organization. Over the 4 years we've been members, we've been able to get a better grasp of the amazing work being done already throughout West Virginia to improve the economy, to assess what's working and what hasn't worked so well, and to be inspired by others who are doing the really hard work to meet the goals that were set. It's wonderful to have the opportunity for training and development among our members and to offer it at times that bring us together. Obviously, during this 4-day conference, we've talked about economic issues, and those are huge, and there's solutions being created, and that's wonderful to hear about. The second day, we heard about healthcare and the many solutions and the exciting things that are going on to improve the healthcare of our citizenry. We also had a day, the third day, about education, about diversity and inclusion in the workplace, and how public and higher ed institutions are eager to work together, and about the systems that are being built to create collaborative experiences that will better serve our students, the state, and the region for years to come. Today, the goal is to have conversations about community, the revitalization of our coal communities, and what it has and will take to successfully accomplish this task. We're making progress in this area as well and have exciting opportunities that our citizens are going to benefit from. I'm looking forward to hearing all that's going to be shared and to be able to sit back a little bit and be an active learner myself once again. I want to thank Sarah Payne again for the excellent leadership she provides us. She and Jerry Gilbert envisioned and provided support to build this organization that shows such promise for West Virginia's future. So at this point, I'm going to stop and kick off the rest of this exciting conference day by introducing Dr. Briggs White, the Deputy Executive Director, the Interagency Working Group on Coal and Power Plant Communities and Economic Revitalization from the U.S. Department of Energy. Welcome, Dr. White. It is great to have you here with us in West Virginia.
Thank you so much. That was a wonderful intro. And I'm going to start off by just saying, it's a real privilege to work for this interagency, on this interagency working group. It's a really noble mission. These are real workers, real people in communities that we are looking to partner with and support and do anything that we can to be helpful. And really want to thank the organizers of this event for the opportunity to just share a very brief overview. But then I'll stay around here a little bit later this morning and would welcome any input from the audience, and we'll provide contact information for follow-up if that's helpful. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about investing in coal communities, in particular. The executive order that established the working group actually includes oil and gas and everything from getting it out of the ground through processing it and ultimately utilizing it. But today I wanted to talk in particular about coal communities, given the nature of this conference, and talk about some of the challenges, but also the opportunities there. Another exciting reason to be part of this event is that there is so much good work being done. And I think it's really about catalyzing it and scaling it as opposed to starting from scratch. The Interagency Working Group has a mission to support the America's energy workers and communities. And to do that, we have 11 federal agencies plus OMB that can all bring their individual programs and resources to bear in partnership with communities to realize some positive outcomes. That requires coordination across the federal government. It also requires coordination with the communities and the other impacted stakeholders to generate those outcomes. But our mission includes, in terms of how do we do that, really targeting energy communities and putting a bit of focus on that, as well as accelerating the delivery, both by making the federal government a little bit more accessible, but also working on the other side by making sure that stakeholders have what they need to respond effectively. And so to lay some groundwork, in April, we wrote a report to the president that identified some next steps on how we could do that. And I'll lay out a few of those here today. Part of that report included an assessment of energy communities around the country. What do they look like? Where are they? And we identified oil and gas communities as well as coal communities. And this chart just shows the coal communities, which ultimately provided a basis for prioritizing 25 communities, primarily around coal employment and where it's densest around the country. But as soon as I say that, then I have to say, while there's some trends, no two communities are identical, and they may have different challenges. They may have different assets and opportunities in front of them. They may have different, they may be in different states of a transition, or maybe not transitioning at all. these are really important communities around the country that have powered the nation for nearly a century. And it's this administration's priority to make sure that we support them moving forward. These jobs in energy communities, from coal mines, coal power plants, et cetera, tend to be good paying jobs with robust benefits that can really support a family. And one other trend that I'll say is, this isn't true everywhere, but many of these communities tend to be rural in nature, and that lifts up some challenges, but perhaps some opportunities, particularly with the infrastructure bill passing earlier this week. Just one more bit of context. Many of you will be familiar with the challenges that were alluded to earlier. And here I asked my team to put together a map of the coal mine and coal plant closures over just the last 10 years in the Appalachian region. And it's pretty startling, to be honest with you. The red triangles pointing down are closed coal mines, and there's so many of them, particularly in southern West Virginia, that they really pile up on top of each other. And then the power plants are the blue squares, where you have operating ones that are whole, and then ones that retired in the last decade that are shaded with a half black. And so you can see there's been a lot of retirements, but there's also a lot of active mines and plants in the region. According to statistics from the Energy Information Agency, EIA, there will be additional closures around the country moving forward, and where those have been announced, we certainly want to be helpful in those situations to make sure that planning is being done and thoughtful action is occurring. One impact of all this is that, in addition to the employment impacts, there's critical tax base implications and impacts. And we're looking at, in cases where a local community wants to diversify away from coal, clearly there needs to be a lot of fundamental infrastructure to allow that kind of business growth to occur. Or maybe there's ways to pivot within that. For example, taking coal and making value-added products, or identifying rare earth elements that could be used in electric vehicle batteries. There are a lot of opportunities, but clearly it's very dependent on the local situation. So that's sort of just the context. Moving forward, since we started this, we've engaged with lots of stakeholders. We've held 12 different community tours, many of them virtually, unfortunately, given the COVID situation, but we've learned a fair bit. And some of our guiding principles are on the left, along with a few things that we've heard, and that, we really need to move quickly from talking to action. And we've done that both within the federal government and also by delivering funds and real resources. But we also know there's no silver bullets, and that's really driven us to bring this whole of government approach that was outlined in the executive order for the Interagency Working Group. And where we're driving to is trying to continue the stakeholder engagement to make sure that where we are delivering resources, we're on target, and also to solicit really good ideas about how we can be innovative. I know the federal government is not the first place you think about in terms of innovation, but we really are trying to be creative and nimble and less bureaucratic in terms of how can we just deliver on target the services as fast as possible that are actually needed and driven by local community members. And so in that regard, we have additional community tours that we're planning, as well as we're organizing a stakeholder retreat for January. And part of that will include a public comment portal so we can get additional information. We're also standing up a one-stop shop. We have a website at energycommunities.gov. And part of that, we are populating with funding opportunities. And in particular, in this month of November, we're actively working with our agency partners to update the information that is on the site to make sure that it is both comprehensive and current and accurate now that we've moved into the fiscal year 22. And so we're actively bringing this whole of government approach in response to what we've heard. Some additional things that we've heard in terms of what the communities need are real challenges around, got to have the infrastructure in order to have business development. Clearly, we need to retain the jobs if we can. If not, we need to create jobs, because what's the point of training people for jobs that don't exist? But fundamental to all of this is, particularly in rural energy communities, having the capacity to even respond to the federal government in the first place, whether that's having a grant writer or someone with the leadership skills and the vision to generate a coalition that can be responsive. And so in that regard, we have worked with our agencies to try to provide more technical assistance, more funding for those kinds of things. But it's a real challenge that we see, and that we're thinking about how can we do more there. But in terms of making an investment in energy communities, here's the targeting again. The Department of Commerce identified $300 million through their Economic Development Agency specifically for coal communities. One of those solicitations has already run its course, but there's still one more with a rolling deadline through the spring. So there's additional funds available through a wide range of opportunities. And many, many more. The Appalachian Regional Commission, which you're going to hear later from the federal co-chair Manchin, made a historic investment in Appalachia through their power program earlier this year. So a lot of different agency funding going towards a number of these topics. On the cost share, that was probably arguably the second biggest barrier that we heard about, right along with capacity building. And in that regard, we're thinking about both how can we lower the barrier where allowed by statute. And so as an example, EDA removed the cost share requirement for tribal communities this year, as well as try to work with partners in an ecosystem, whether it's philanthropy, the private sector, or the state, to provide cost share that can help offset those requirements for a local community that wants to drive forward with a solution. Just wanted to highlight on the infrastructure bill implementation that there are a number of provisions across each of the different funding opportunities that include really strong provisions for workers there. So that's an important thing moving forward. So just to reiterate, we are investing with urgency, both for the near term and the long term. I mean, some of this is real structural change, which will take years to play out. But in terms of the federal government's participation, we're really looking to try to accelerate the delivery of those funds. When we wrote the initial report in April, we had $38 billion identified. A lot of that was through the American Recovery Plan, of which that funding needed to get planned and then ultimately issued. Many of those funding opportunities are already on the street or have already moved through the system. And now negotiations are underway and funds will be obligated. So you'll see the $2 billion. We have a number that's actually higher than that now. That number will be ticking up here as those funds go ahead and get obligated. In addition to that, clearly we'll have the infrastructure bill, which will add a lot more funding that'll be relevant to energy communities. So the kinds of things that the funding is going towards is upgrading infrastructure. Again, as an example, the infrastructure bill will upgrade roads, broadband in particular, clean up environmental damage. A lot of opportunity there with $16 billion through the infrastructure bill on the Department of Interior with mine reclamation and through EPA's brownfields and Superfund sites. Not only do those programs clean up environmental damage, but they also create great job opportunities as well as potentially new sites for business development. We know our partners have supported entrepreneurship, which is critical as a catalyst in a community to grow new business. And then finally, very much interested in supporting the workforce, whether through new training or through the Department of Labor's dislocated worker grants and other kinds of opportunities. So I'll just close by saying we'd love you to check out our website, which we're going to continue to build out and try to make it energy communities, or on the social media sites. You can sign up to get information on our events and so forth. And a few calls to action. One is please do sign up. We'd love to have you at our events, but also want to hear your point of view on how we can be doing better. What are the needs? What are the opportunities? Support coalitions and matching funds. If you're an organization that is supportive of energy communities and you have funds or you have leadership capability or you can write a grant, really encourage you to reach out and generate those coalitions that can be so supportive. And we'll try to do our part to reduce the barriers from the federal side to help those communities. And finally, we really would love your input on all of our priority work streams down below. And I just wanted to flag that we're having an infrastructure webinar tomorrow afternoon that's specifically dedicated to energy communities. We'll have a number of senior officials from the White House and the Department of Energy on that. So that's my last slide. I just wanted to say thank you so much for the opportunity and look forward to any follow-up. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Briggs. What a great presentation. I did drop your email into the chat along with your website, clean energy or energycommunities.gov. So please check it out and connect with you. And we appreciate the update very much. Thank you for the presentation. Okay, so now I'm going to toss it over to kind of like my partner in crime. We work very well together and we're on several projects. And he is a dear friend of mine, Brandon Dennison, the founder and CEO of Coalfield Development. Good morning, Brandon.
Good morning, Sarah. I proudly will take the title of your partner in crime. I love it. We do a lot of good work together, and a mutual friend of ours over the years has become Andrew Dawson. Andrew Dawson's market president for United Bank. United Bank is the perfect sponsor. If you followed United Bank's growth under Andrew's leadership and other colleagues at United Bank, it's extraordinary how successful that company has been. And yet my personal experience with Andrew and others at United, they stay very flexible. They stay very committed to small communities. So even though they have a big bank, they do big deals, big solutions. They haven't forgotten some of the smaller communities from where they've come. So Andrew is a friend. He's on the board of Coalfield Development, I'm proud to say, and he has been a steadfast supporter of this conference from day one. When we reached out for the very first Small Communities Big Solutions Conference, told him what it was all about. He didn't hesitate to offer a sponsorship and actually said, I'd like to be able to speak at that and offer some perspectives coming from some of the small communities where I know United Bank is so active. So Andrew, welcome, and thank you so much for all of your support.
Thank you very much, Brandon. I appreciate that introduction. I think this is actually the second year in a row that Brandon's introduced me, and it's always an honor to have someone like Brandon give such a great introduction and talk so highly of United Bank. One thing that I do want to mention about Brandon, and I don't think I've ever mentioned this to him. I've been in banking for nearly 15 years now, and I've had the pleasure of meeting so many successful people. I don't know if I've ever met someone with such vision and drive like Brandon. One of the first times I met Brandon, I thought he was a little crazy, talking about really that vision he had, and that was to set out to really change the state of West Virginia. And so far he's done that. His model with Coalfield truly received global recognition, and I couldn't be more proud of what he's done for the state. I will put a plug in if you all see the West Virginia sign behind me, that made by Coalfield Development, one of the social enterprises. So if you're looking for a good holiday gift, make sure to get on the website. So, but what I want to talk about today, as Brandon mentioned, United Bank, we are very fortunate to be the program sponsor for this event for the fourth consecutive year, and hopefully many more to come. Hopefully at some point we'll return to normal and be able to do this in person. Past few days, we've heard from so many different individuals. I know it's a huge task to get all of these people together. So Sarah, thank you to you and your team for organizing this event. A little bit of background on myself. I am a sixth generation West Virginian. I was born here, grew up here, went to school here, work here. I've really never been away from the state for more than a few weeks, going on vacation, traveling for work. I've lived in a lot of different places throughout the state, Charleston, Sissonville, Parkersburg, Vienna, Ripley, Huntington, Barbersville, and now currently live in Hurricane. And I've loved every single one of those places, no matter how long I've been there. I've loved everything about them. I've loved the intricacies of those towns, the history of those towns, the local restaurants, the local businesses. All of them are so unique, and they've all felt like home. I truly can't imagine being anywhere else. My wife and I, we've been very fortunate to have opportunities for career advancement outside of the state. But at the end of the day, when we sit down and talk about what we want with our life, we don't want to leave this place. It's our home. It's where our family is, and it's where we want to raise our daughter. We want to be a part of the generation that moves West Virginia forward. We want to be part of the generation that comes up with solutions to our problems. We always joke about it, and I'm sure there are others on this call today, that when we're coming back from vacation, we cross back into the state. Usually we're on I-64, we cross over into Princeton, and we say we're home when we see that welcome to West Virginia sign. And then we realize, well, shoot, we've got 2 hours left until we're actually to our home. But I think that speaks to how we feel about the state, the borders of the state. It's comforting because in our experience, we know that no matter where we are within the state, we're home, and we're very fortunate to have that feeling about this great place that we live. So now just a little bit of, getting into sort of the more meat of what I wanted to talk about today. Every year, I've looked at the name of the conference, Small Communities, Big Solutions, and I've thought about the meaning of it. I've thought truly what it references is the number of small communities we have within our state, and taking these ideas we're hearing about and taking those back to our communities, and helping solve our problems. There are always so many great ideas shared within this conference that's really easy to do. But as I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about today, I really started thinking about what a community is. I started thinking about the communities that I'm a part of. I live in the Hurricane community. I work in the Huntington community. I'm part of the banking community. As a Marshall graduate, I'm part of the Marshall community. My list goes on, as I'm sure yours would as well. But after I started thinking about it a little bit longer, I really started to think of the state as a community. And really, I went back and forth on this for a little bit. And I thought, gosh, everyone's really spread out. We've got 1.8 million people that live in the state. It seems a little bit big for a community as we typically think about. But the more that I sat and thought about this, I truly think West Virginia is just a big community. No matter how big we are, it seems that you are connected to somebody by only a few degrees of separation. You can pick up the phone and call someone in another city, and they probably know who you're trying to get in touch with. Although we are spread all across the state, really the thread that makes us a community is our love and passion for living in this state. That's the reason why we get excited when we may be on vacation or out of town on business that we bump into someone from West Virginia. We know that we've got this shared connection with a person and a passion to the community that we're a part of. There's a very unique nature of living in this state. And I truly think that's why we get excited when we may be out of town and just so happens bump into someone from West Virginia. Just a really small side note. Even though we've got a small population, I've got two funny stories. It seems like no matter where I travel, I'll bump into someone from West Virginia. Last week I was in New York City, staying in a hotel right in Times Square. Go upstairs to the restaurant. Sit down at the bar to get some food, strike up a conversation with a guy that I sat down beside. Turns out he was from West Virginia. So, 1.8 million people in the state, and it always seemed to bump into someone. Another story in 2019, I was fortunate enough to travel to Germany. At some point during that trip, started talking to another American, and sure enough, it's from West Virginia, actually from Huntington. So it just, even though we're a small population, we travel well, and West Virginians always seem to find one another. No matter what part of the state we're from, the things that have been addressed over the past 4 days are truly things that affect everyone. Our economy, our health, our education, all of these are challenges that are looking for solutions. The one thing that I've taken away is that the way someone addresses these challenges in Southern West Virginia may be completely different from how someone in the Eastern Panhandle may address those exact same problems. But the point is that each small community within the community of our state, we're all responsible for moving our state forward. As each community within the community of our state improves, that's only going to move the state forward. Each individual community within our state must advance, because quite honestly, we don't have the large population centers that alone can drive our economy. It truly is the old saying, a rising tide lifts all boats. And I think as we see the improvement in our small communities, the community of our state will continue to improve. From my perspective, and really what I want to talk a lot about and really passionate about, the communities that I'm involved in, there are so many people trying to solve a number of problems, but those people need help. They need volunteers, they need funding, they need expertise. They truly need help. From my position at United Bank, I've been very fortunate to be able to see how investing in those communities and those people truly help solve problems. I've seen how a United Bank employee volunteering to teach financial literacy to individuals living in a domestic violence shelter, it allowed victims to save money and to be able to move away from their abusers. I've seen someone who struggled with substance use disorder save enough money to buy a car and have safe and reliable transportation. And that was because of a financial plan that a United Bank employee put together with them. And one of my favorite stories, something that's truly near and dear to my heart, I've seen kids have Christmas presents given to them by their parents who were going through the program at Recovery Point. Last year, we were so fortunate to be able to give 150 kids Christmas presents that were going through that very unfortunate circumstance. This is investing in the members of the community who are going through a rough time. But really, it doesn't stop there. We have to invest in those community organizations that are solving the problems. That may be supporting financially through donations, or from a lending standpoint, the organizations like Coalfield that are truly getting out, training our workforce, and bringing people into the next generation of workforce. At United, we do pride ourselves on lending to the nonprofit groups in our communities. And quite honestly, this has become such a focus that we now have a nonprofit and Community Development and Lending Group. We've been recognized nationally for our efforts in CRA lending and volunteerism. And we do that not because we have to, but because we feel it's the right thing to do. It's a core bank of who we are. Our mission statement at United is excellence in service to our employees, our shareholders, our customers, and communities. That is in our mission statement, because we look at it as a privilege to serve each of these communities throughout West Virginia and in our entire footprint. We have to help those communities in any possible way. That's why you're constantly going to see United as one of the largest corporate donors throughout the state, one of the largest volunteer organizations throughout the state. And it's something that we are passionate about and will continue to try to excel in helping our communities. But quite honestly, we have to continue to do better. We have to continue to improve, because as the state of our economy changes, we have to change, just like anything else. If you don't change and don't evolve, that won't be a great outcome. So we have to continue to build the relationships within our communities to find out who those people are that are making a difference, what organizations are making a difference in our communities, who's working to solve the problems that we have. So who truly needs our help and our support. So in closing, I would like to say that all of us attending this conference, we really are passionate about West Virginia and moving the community forward, whether that's our individual communities, whether that's the community of our state. I think we all want to leave this place better than what we found it, and being here today shows that. I'll just challenge everyone as they go back to their individual communities to dig just a little bit deeper, give that extra little bit of effort to solve the problem you're working on. Donate that extra dollar to the local nonprofit that you see making a difference. Give the extra hour of volunteer time. Offer just a little bit more support to the individuals that are making the difference in your communities. And if we can all do that, I would almost guarantee that will make our small communities just a little bit better, and in turn make the community of West Virginia what we know it can be. So Sarah, I do appreciate the time that you allotted to me today. It's always an honor to be here. Hopefully next year we're able to see one another face to face, but thank you very much.
Oh, Andrew, thank you so much for sharing your words of wisdom, and we appreciate you so much. And we appreciate United Bank's support of Small Communities, Big Solutions, and what we're trying to do here to educate and inspire. And we've done a lot of educating over the past 4 days. Now we're going to inspire. And so we're going to take Andrew's words and keep them, and we're going to move toward our Power of Performance award ceremony. And I'm so excited. This is a highlight every year. We are celebrating the doers, the individuals that are really making a positive difference in the Mountain State. And I'm going to turn it over to Susie and Trevor, who will get this program started. Welcome, Susie. Welcome, Trevor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you for being our fearless leader with this conference. And I will apologize ahead of time. There is a tree being cut down apparently in the background, so I hope that you don't hear the chainsaw. And I hope I can stay focused on not listening to the chainsaw.
Well, that's how you know virtual conferences are. We have to navigate tech issues and outside issues, and we don't hear it right now. So.
Oh, good, wonderful, because I hear it. So without further ado, let's get started with the celebration here. So Trevor and I are going to tag team this, and we have 3 categories. changing lives, putting people to work, and revitalizing communities. So we're going to start with changing lives, and we're going to start with Joni Cantrell, recognizing Joni. Joni is the founder and executive director of Arts in Action, and she's being awarded the Changing Lives category for her work in cultivating relationships with children through the power of the arts. Under Joni's direction, Arts in Action has grown to a multifaceted organization offering courses in all genres of dance, music, visual arts, and serves over 500 individuals a year. I wanted to also point out the program called Superstars, which is a music and dance program for those with special needs. And Joni's reach has gone across the country through her students and young people that she's worked with in the past through their careers and work out all over the country. So congratulations, Joni.
Thank you so much. Wow. I'd like to thank the Alliance for Economic Development of Southern West Virginia. Thank you for hosting this conference, but for recognizing the work that we're doing through the arts. And it always takes a village. So I want to accept this award on behalf of our staff, faculty, our board of directors, of course, our angel volunteers, our supporters, and we have extraordinary partners. And we are just humbled to receive this recognition. We believe that children deserve every opportunity to thrive. And so we use the arts as a vehicle to bring 5 promises to children that have been proven to help them develop into productive adults. That's caring adults, a safe place, a healthy start, effective education, and an opportunity to serve. After school dance and music and theater and art classes, they engage children in activities that reap physical, mental, social, and emotional benefits. It teaches discipline and dedication and teamwork and skill, and it raises their self-esteem. So through the arts, we can reach the whole child. But above all, these programs are the vehicle. They give our mentors and our faculty and our volunteers an opportunity to one-on-one show love and acceptance. We speak life into children, we bring them hope, and we open their eyes to a better future. We're truly humbled to work alongside the organizations that are working diligently to make a difference. We know that we're just a part of the big puzzle of bringing change into our community, and we are so blessed to be a part of that puzzle, utilizing the arts. By grace, I am compelled beyond my own understanding, and by grace, we will continue to make a positive impact in the communities that we serve with excellence and integrity. And I just want to put out there before I end is that we are producing, Arts in Action is producing a world premiere ballet this Christmas. It's on Monday and Tuesday, December 20th and 21st at Charleston Civic Center. And it's Christmas in Whoville. It is all original choreography by our staff and our artistic director. The show is a world premiere. You don't want to miss it. We are still looking for partners to help produce this $30,000 world premiere with 50 cast members from all around West Virginia. We opened it up as auditions for all dancers to come and be part of this. We wanted to give children an opportunity to be part of a large production with only 2 guest artists that are coming in. It is Claire from the Nutcracker. She continues her journey into Whoville. So we want to invite you to that, and thank you again for the recognition of the arts, because through the arts, we can change lives. Thank you.
Thank you. And, something else that you're doing, whether it's intentional or not, is addressing prevention efforts and increasing protective factors for our children and mediating ACEs, the adverse childhood experiences. So again, we thank you very much for everything that you're doing in the communities and with our young folks. So we're going to kick it over to Trevor now for our next awardee.
All right, up next is Jobs in Hope, West Virginia, transition agents for regions 1 through 3. They're also being awarded in the Changing Lives category. I do have their names here. For region 1, it's Cassidy Hart, Charlotte Crow, Larry East, Donna Aleo. Region 2, Michael Robinette, Lara Foster, Richie Armstrong, Sherry Sloan. In region 3, Anna Holly, Tiffany Tyson, Kevin Jackson, and Fran Gray. So Jobs in Hope is being awarded and assisting people in recovery as they prepare for potential education and/or career opportunities. Transition agents not only conduct needs assessments and develop personalized plans for each program participant, but they also develop and maintain collaborative relationships with all agency partners to assist the participant in overcoming barriers in the development of education and employment goals that match the participant's skills, interests, and experiences. And accepting the award on the transition agent's behalf is Ms. Deb Harris from Jobs in Hope, West Virginia.
Thank you, Trevor. Can everybody hear me okay?
We can.
All right. I actually want to give my transition agents an opportunity to speak. I think they have elected a speaker for the day. They really are an amazing group, an amazing team, and we're spread out throughout the state. So it's really amazing how this group dynamic works, even though we're spread over 55 counties. And regions 1, 2, and 3 cover the southern part of the state. And we are in touch daily and we work well together. So I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Foster and let her say a few words on behalf of her team.
Surprise, I guess it's me. Thanks, everyone. No, we just want to really, again, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for the recognition, but the real recognition goes to all of the participants in Jobs in Hope, West Virginia. Like Deb said, we talk every day, and Sarah from the Northern Panhandle just had 2 more graduates, and we're down here in Charleston and Huntington and Cabell-Wayne, Lincoln, Logan, Boone, and Mingo. That's a special shout out to all of our Region 2 counties, helping folks get, career employment, overcoming these barriers to employment, and honestly watching folks grow day in and day out. We get these text messages because the state offers us the cell phone capabilities, right? And we just get text messages of, oh my goodness, thank you. And then, we'll have phone calls every week with participants who say, hey, Ms. Foster, or hey, Michael, do you want to know what grades I got? Our answer is always, of course, you're in college. That's yes, we want to know what grades you got, especially if they're A's and B's. But it's also, hey, I just got a promotion. I went from, for example, we have good partnerships with some McDonald's around the state, right? So we have, people who are getting promotions from being, on the front end cashier to managerial positions within 2 or 3 weeks of them being employed, and when you're talking about folks who are overcoming SUD issues, there's a lot to lose. It's West Virginia. We know there's a lot to lose. There's a lot of folks who are struggling with OUD, SUD issues throughout our state. And at Jobs in Hope, not only are we doing the jobs, which is kind of how this, small communities, big solutions conference pointed out on, but there's the hope aspect as well. And just to see the hope that we can help provide, even if it's through an email or a text message or a phone call, and then also seeing the hope in folks' eyes when they do complete these training or these educational modules or these trainings that help provide them the opportunity to get those career employment chances. It's just great to see. And we just want to say thank you all for the support. If you know anyone, they can call that Help for West Virginia line. That's how they get a hold of us. And so thank you so much again for this. And again, the recognition goes out to all of the transition agents in our regions 1, 2, and 3, and special shout out to all the others throughout the state as well. Of course, we're a team. We're actually the dream team. So thank you all for this opportunity, and we'll turn it back to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. And I just do want to point out the NIH actually released a study last week saying that people in recovery do actually report more life achievements, and they are more engaged in the community. So your all's work is not only building West Virginia's workforce, but you're enhancing that community engagement, which is what the conference is focused on. So we really appreciate your work. Okay, up next, we have the Putting People to Work category. And our first honoree in the category is Marshall Core, an initiative of Marshall Health. And the program truly represents the Putting People to Work category. CORE provides the resources and support necessary to help individuals in recovery re-enter the workforce. CORE's goal is to create a ready workforce within its 12-county region of southwestern West Virginia. Since CORE operationalized, the initiative has assisted more than 220 people in recovery in gaining employment. So we would like to welcome a spokesperson from CORE to accept the award.
Thank you, Trevor. Hopefully everybody can hear me, and good morning to everyone. I just want to say, wow, we are just so honored to be selected for this award. We are so grateful really for the opportunity to be able to serve our 295 individuals that we have assisted in getting folks back to work. You know, it's really our purpose, and we are really just committed to seeing people be reconnected with structure, purpose, and community. And we understand that, you know, when we all are together, when we're all cheering together, when we're all working together, we can accomplish so many things. So really and truly, we're just so grateful for the opportunity. The entire CORE team is just elated to be selected for this award. And we also want to thank our partners. You know, none of this could be accomplished if we didn't have great partners throughout our 12-county region. So this award is also for those partners, our treatment providers, our resource agencies, and just business, the countless businesses that we work with to make sure that folks are employed and that they have can lead self-sustaining lives. The other piece, you know, I just want to add is that, you know, we are stronger together. And I think CORE's team is a demonstration of the magnitude. You might be small, but you can be mighty and accomplish a lot of things if you have a heart to want to see people be better and do better. So my last words are, we are stronger together, West Virginia. Thank you all so much.
Thank you all for all the work you do. And I'm so glad you pointed out partnerships because later on today, we're going to be hearing from Ms. Gayle Manchin on the power of partnerships. I'm going to kick it back over to Susie for our next category.
Thanks, Trevor, and congratulations to CORE and Jobs and Hope. We work closely with them with the West Virginia Collegiate Recovery Network. So our next recognition goes to Terry Giles, and she's being awarded in the Putting People to Work category for her service in launching and developing the Appalachian Headwaters program. Appalachian Headwaters is a nonprofit based in Lewisburg, West Virginia, with a mission to invest in Appalachia's future. In addition to her recent service, she's worked over 30 years in public service, creating job sustainability across West Virginia. And I do want to recognize that she was nominated by Mike Fulton. She's a native of Hinton, a graduate of Concord. And in addition to the 30 years in public service and nonprofits, that also includes the Appalachian Beekeeping Collective, which is beekeeping training to low-income residents. She received a grant through the ARC to expand that, and she's been involved in reconstructing Camp Lightfoot as the headquarters for the Beekeeping Collective, and collaborates with Coalfield Development to build bee boxes. She's also involved in the Appalachian Native Plant Horticulture Initiative. So there are many, many tendrils that go out not only from the Appalachian Headwaters, but the Beekeeping Collective. So congratulations to you, Terry, and we'll turn it over to you to say a few words.
I just once again like to thank the committee for selecting Appalachian Headwaters for the work that we do. It sounds very weird, but we do 3 kinds of different things that were outlined in the overview of our organization. We do reclamation work on abandoned mine property or mine land that has been torn up or destroyed. And we do native plant programming because we want to do our reclamation work as close to perfect as possible by using native plants that are indigenous to West Virginia. And we also do our honeybee program. We have 105 people now that are partners with us in the beekeeping. This is our very busy season because people are, thank goodness, ordering honey for Christmas. And we have just won the Best in the South award for the best food. So I'm glad to hear that people think that black locust honey is the best food in the South. I've worked in economic development for a long time. I worked with Senator Rockefeller for years, and I was honored and privileged to be on the ground in Japan and in Buffalo, West Virginia, helping to bring the Toyota plant to our state. 2,000 jobs, a $2 billion investment. But the one thing we were never able to accomplish in Senator Rockefeller's office, and many people weren't able to accomplish it, we couldn't help our small towns and small communities. It's not like we can locate a Toyota plant in Hinton, West Virginia. But what this group is doing, what all of you are doing, is so critical and so difficult, because we have to do it all together, and we have to do it sometimes despite what other people think about how we're trying to restore our communities. So I'm just honored to be part of this. As I said, I know it sounds crazy, but Toyota was easy. This is hard. This is really hard. From Welch to Hamilton Holler, to Smithers, to Hinton, to Alderson. Those communities, if it were easy, it would have been done, but it's not. So I understand and want to applaud all of you, Brandon, everyone. Sarah, thank you guys, because this is truly the Lord's work, and but it's worth it every single day when we see one person from our community become successful in their own right. We, of course, buy honey back from our partners. We provide them with bees. We teach them how to do it all natural. And because of that, because of this resource, our mountains, our water, our area, no one can take that away from them anymore. So on behalf of Appalachian Headwaters and Appalachian Beekeeping and all of our partners, thank you so much for this award.
Thank you, Terry. We really appreciate you coming back on with us and really appreciate your comments. But we will move on to the Revitalizing Communities category. And we first want to recognize retired Corporal Errol Randall, who was with the Charleston Police Department for 25 years, and he is being recognized for his efforts developing strategies and initiatives to promote successful outcomes for incarcerated individuals and people in long-term recovery. In addition, he's been able to train officers in the community in emotional intelligence, teaching people to understand, use, and to manage emotions in a positive way. And I think this is just absolutely fascinating, and I really want to learn more from you, Corporal. But we will turn it over to you to get your remarks on this award.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. And just to start off, I'm just going to let you all know I'm just sitting here in awe of all the recipients who are so deserving. And I thank you all for your service, because you can really tell that this isn't a job that you all do, it's a calling. And so it's very, very evident in your work. And so what I would like to present is just another piece of the puzzle. to what creates the state of West Virginia. And it's called the GRACE Project. The GRACE Project is a community revitalization project in which we better communities from the inside out. And what do I mean by the inside out? Literally from the inside out, we use gentlemen from the incarcerated community who are currently incarcerated to come out into the community and to help rebuild homes, create safe and secure zones in our cities, and while at the same time achieving their own moral rehabilitation and learning of their own value. So with this program, what we do is we find individuals that have achieved their own moral rehabilitation. They have talents, and we bring them into the community and work on homes, and at the same time we introduce them to community members who can help them once they get out. And one of the statistics that's very evident here in the state of West Virginia is, or relevant, is that 90% of our incarcerated individuals that go in come back out. And so what we're trying to do is achieve better outcomes. And we are truly seeing it with our program. Our guys are learning trades. They're learning skill sets, and that's, you know, and they're learning their own value. So that is just so important. And we're also trying to create that hope and purpose. And as a result, our communities are being revitalized, especially on the west side of Charleston. And in 2022, we're going to start in St. Albans, while also in the west side of Charleston. So I am so thankful to the Small Communities Big Solutions Committee for their platform, for recognizing our efforts. It's not about me, and just as one of your recipients said it before, it's about those folks that we serve, because they're the ones that are making us successful by achieving their own successes with some help. So we're extremely excited. We're extremely thankful. I also want to thank Jobs and Hope West Virginia, because those are some amazing folks. Lori Smith and Deb Harris, they allowed me to come and bring some ideas in, and they listen and they just say, let's do it. And that attitude is why we're successful in West Virginia with a lot of things that we're doing. And so with that being said, I accept on behalf of all of the incarcerated individuals that are helping to achieve the beloved community that Dr. Martin Luther King wanted us to achieve. And so I accept on their behalf and on behalf of the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. We really appreciate everything that you're doing and look forward to hearing more about the GRACE Project.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, Trevor, back to you.
Our next honoree is the late Jason Grubb. Jason is being awarded in the Revitalizing Communities category for his service to his hometown of Welch, West Virginia. Grubb was able to secure grant aid and other funds in excess of $1 million for Welch, leading to the city's ability to maintain a high level of service during the COVID-19 pandemic. His vision for Welch not only focused on capitalizing on the current services, but also growing the city's tourism, providing new experiences to attract individuals to visit. And accepting his award today will be his wife, Miss Stacy Grubb.
Let's see. All right, this is actually, I'm Stacy, and I'm here with the city of Welch. This is Mayor Harold McBride, and he's going to talk a little bit because he worked with Jason in all of the work that they were doing together.
Thank you. On behalf of Jason's work family, we thank you. Jason's appetite for progress was enormous because of his being Welch is a better place today. So on his behalf and his work family, we thank you very much.
This is a council member, city council member, Jim Spence.
My feelings about Jason is he always promoted an enthusiastic attitude and outlook. He was always positive. He loved Welch and he wanted to do all that he could to have our community to grow and prosper. He will be missed.
And this is also City Council member Reverend Spencer, and he was our teacher in high school as well.
It's an honor to say a few words on behalf of Jason. As we travel across the sea of time, we sometimes stop and wonder, what shall I leave behind? Well, Jason left a lot of precious memories. He left his beautiful wife, 5 children, and he made our world a much better place. So we thank God for loaning us a portion of his personality through grace and love. And may he always bless and smile on Welch through Jason's love for us and our hope for the future. Thank you so much.
And thank y'all to the committees for recognizing Jason and the work that he was doing in Welch. This is our hometown, and we're just thrilled for everything that he's done and the work that the city is going to continue to do that he helped get started.
Stacy, thank you for accepting the award today and gathering individuals from the city of Welch. We really appreciate it. It's truly the honor of the Small Communities Big Solutions Planning Committee to award you all with this award today. So we thank you.
Thank you so much.
So last but not least, we're going to go to the 2022 Small Communities Big Solutions Advocate. And can you hear me okay, or is the background noise too bad? Is it
We can hear
okay?
you.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Because it is my very great pleasure and honor to introduce our Small Communities Advocate this year to Dr. Dreama Mace-Hill, who is the epitome of Small Communities Big Solutions. Dr. Hill has spent much of her professional career serving West Virginians in the health sector, currently serving as the Vice President for Community Engagement and Development at the West Virginia School of Osteopathic Medicine. Dr. Hill works at the intersection of higher education, community workforce development, community engagement, and partnerships to guide the creation, implementation, and evaluation of integrated strategies that generate health improvements. In her time at WVSOM, she's replicated 6 opioid prevention and awareness toolkits in West Virginia, created an international research project in partnership with the Kilimanjaro Medical University in Tanzania, and helped bring millions of dollars of funding to WVSOM and in fact across the state. And it's my great privilege to call her a friend and to turn over to her now for her comments. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, Susie. Can you hear me okay? All right, just checking. So I'm really honored to be selected for the Advocate Award by the Alliance for Economic Development in Southern West Virginia, Coalfield Development, and the Community Development Hub. I first want to thank the people in the communities that have worked so closely with me throughout the years to build small community infrastructure across West Virginia. You all know who you are, and you know we've had some great adventures, and I certainly appreciate them. I appreciate Dr. Jim Nimitz. He's the president of WSOM, and he's always supporting my work. He really knows what true community engagement is and the necessity of involving the community in decision making. And I appreciate that about him. I want to thank the staff that I work with at WSOM, because I couldn't do what I do if it wasn't for them. And last but not least, much appreciation for my husband, Fred, because he's always willing to roll up his sleeves and get out in the community with me and do some good community work at my side. So I appreciate that. And I just want to thank you all so much. This award means a lot to me. And I'm just really glad to be a part of the big solutions for West Virginia. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hill. And I will kick it back over to Sarah for any closing comments. Again, congratulations to all of our 2022 honorees, and best of luck to you throughout 2022.
Well, thank you so much, Susie and Trevor, and to all the honorees. We salute you. You embody the Appalachian spirit, the West Virginia spirit, to serve and do and to make a difference every day. And we will carry this inspirational one in our work individually through the next year. And we just want to say thank you, because it's a huge, we all do great things. Everyone can do something, and what you do is extraordinary. So thank you very much. And with that, it's my pleasure to bring President Kendra Boggess back, Concord University president, to introduce our featured speaker this morning. Dr. Boggess.
I'm here, and I hope I'm unmuted now. Good to be back with you again, and I'm enjoying the conference very much and so inspired by the honorees. So congratulations, each of you. It's also my pleasure this morning to welcome Gayle Conley Manchin, the Appalachian Regional Commission's 13th federal co-chair. Mrs. Manchin was nominated by President Biden, and in this position, she works directly with the ARC's 13-member governors, their state alternates and program managers, and a network of local development districts to continue to build community capacity and strengthen economic growth throughout Appalachia. This appointment is just the latest of Mrs. Manchin's long list of service to our region. She's an alumna of West Virginia University, worked as an educator in Marion County Schools, served on the faculty of Fairmont State, and was the director of the university's first community service learning program. She directed the AmeriCorps Promise Fellows in West Virginia between 2000 and 2004, and implemented a statewide initiative, West Virginia Partnerships, to assure student success. Obviously, we all know she previously served as West Virginia's First Lady between 2005 and 10, and was appointed to serve as a member of the State Board of Education, serving her last 2 years as president. She was chair of the board for Reconnecting McDowell, an AFT initiative serving rural West Virginia, is past president of the Vandalia Rotary Club of Charleston, and was an emeritus member of the Education Alliance. She also served as cabinet secretary for the West Virginia Office of Education and the Arts. Please join me in welcoming Gayle Conley Manchin, who will speak about the power of partnerships. Welcome, Gayle.
Well, good morning, and Dr. Boggess, thank you so much. I so enjoyed meeting you when I was visiting Concord, and so it's so nice to see you again. And of course, Sarah, it's always a pleasure to get to be with you at a function. I wish we could be together, obviously, in person, and maybe someday soon we'll be putting this back into face-to-face. But I am just so proud and honored to be joining you all this morning. And I want to thank everyone at the Alliance for Economic Development of Southern West Virginia, the West Virginia Community Development Hub, and the Coalfield Development for inviting me to share and be a part of today's festivities. And I certainly want to be among those who have said congratulations to all of the Power Performance awardees, Marshall's Health Corps program, Terry Giles. Terry, as you were talking about the honey and the headwaters, all that you're doing, I remember my wonderful visit with you all in Hinton, and then down to the honey where y'all were producing the honey. And who knew how different honey can taste? I was just totally amazed. I got to do a tasting, and it was all wonderful. Also to Errol Randall, certainly Jason Grubb and his family, Joni Cantrell, and Dr. Dreama Mace Hill, and the Jobs and Hopes regions 1 through 3. You all serve as great examples of what can happen when West Virginians put their mind to something and work together. And so this morning, I'm here very proud to represent the Appalachian Regional Commission as the federal co-chair, and the first federal co-chair from West Virginia. I am the 13th. And so, but the very first from West Virginia. And so that certainly instills an extra layer of pride. And while West Virginia, of course, is and always will be home, you know, my role now is that I'm committed to looking out for the interests not only of those in the Mountain State, but the 25 million people across Appalachian's 13 states and now 420 counties. With the legislation that just passed, 3 new counties were added to our Appalachian region, 2 in North Carolina and 1 in South Carolina. So now we are a family of 423 counties. And it just encourages us to not only welcome, but to understand that cross-boundary thinking is really the key to not only what we can make happen across the entire Appalachian region, but certainly throughout Southern West Virginia. Through my work around the state and certainly down in Southern West Virginia and McDowell County and throughout much of West Virginia, I know that 2 of the greatest assets in the Appalachian region are both the beauty of our land and the beauty of our people, their strength, their resourcefulness, and their resilience. And so I truly believe that we are on the precipice of something big in our region that will make those resources known to the entire country. And if there were ever a time to make something really big happen, now is that time to really think about transformation in our region. Thanks to Build Back Better and the American Rescue Plan Act, small Appalachian communities, just like those throughout Southern West Virginia, will be receiving money from the federal government for the very first time. And that allows these communities to make once-in-a-lifetime investments in their future. And as our area's business and community leaders, you all out there today on this, in this program and in this summit, you can play such a pivotal role as we move forward. You know, hanging in my office here at the ARC is a map showing our research department's economic classifications of every county in Appalachia, ranging from bright red, which are the most distressed counties, to bright blue, which are our attainment counties. Unfortunately, when I look at West Virginia, I see part of what I call the big red blob right in the center of the Appalachian region. And those counties represent the economies that are in the bottom 10% of our nation. So we have a contingency of counties that include Southern West Virginia, Eastern Kentucky, Southeastern Virginia, and Southwestern Virginia that really represent one of the largest contingencies of distressed counties, not only in the Appalachian region, but across our country. And so when I say that we have the opportunity in this time frame with the money that is being forwarded us to make a transformation, I sincerely mean that. And I mean it in very strong terms. I think for many years, our communities have been surviving. And they've been surviving because of the resourcefulness and the resiliency of our people. I think through several of the programs and entrepreneurial efforts, leadership, community capacity building, that we've actually brought counties into surviving. But I want to throw a challenge out to all of you that are in this meeting today. What if we went from distressed to surviving to competing, that we actually gain the parity that we deserve in the Appalachian region, and that we can compete with anyone, not only in the Appalachian region, but we can compete with anyone in this country. I think that's what we're striving for. And I think that this is the time that we can make these things happen. And the way to do this is not just to think of us, it's not just to think of McDowell County or Mercer County or Raleigh County, Mingo, Logan. No. We've got to call upon that long-standing belief that West Virginians have always had, that we help our neighbors. And that means whether it's crossing a county line or a state line. You know, West Virginians aren't strangers to thinking about taking big and courageous chances. That determination began with the foundation of our state back in 1863. And while we aren't forming a new state, yes, we are forming a new state. We're transforming into a new era for Appalachia. And I know, as you do in the work that you do every day, that there's power in numbers. It's time that we work together to leverage our influence, to work on projects that will drive entrepreneurship, it will build infrastructure, it will expand broadband to those very last miles on our most rural roads. But I will tell you, I'm not sitting here telling you all the things you need to do. ARC would never ask you to do this alone. This call to action for you here in West Virginia, it's a call to action all across the Appalachian region. How do we capitalize on our previous successes and work to replicate them in a way that's bigger and better? For ARC, that meant the recent announcement of our fully approved 22 through 2026 strategic plan. In formatting this strategic plan, we engaged almost 2,000 individuals and organizations from across the region to help us create a new strategic plan that will help the ARC and Appalachia look toward this new era of opportunity. Our stakeholders that responded to these surveys, and we had over 1,800 from all across the region, emphasized the importance of incorporating innovation, equity, sustainability, and resilience into our work within the region over the next 5 years. And with that in mind, we then identified 5 core goals to further that work. And these goals include, number 1, building Appalachian businesses. We'll provide support for small business development in the region while working to grow the existing businesses that we have and to also support economic diversification. The second goal is to build Appalachia's workforce ecosystem. The foundation of economic vitality starts with investing in people. And when we talk about workforce development, we're talking about people. We're talking about developing people, investing in people when it comes to educating, training, and supporting recovery to work efforts for our people suffering from substance abuse. I'd like to pause here for a moment to actually give a little more detail to talk about what we have across the Appalachian region have suffered from this horrific ordeal of substance use disorder throughout our Appalachian communities. It is a crisis that has had sweeping impacts on our region. There is no one in this audience today that has not been affected by it in some way. It has affected friends, families, neighbors. It has affected the business. It has affected the entire community. And so that's why we know that substance use disorder is holistically, it encompasses all of that. It is a workforce and community development issue. Again, that's what makes it a people issue. And we rely on our partnerships with the local development districts to help support initiatives for individuals who are recovering from substance abuse use disorder and to enter or to re-enter the workforce. Just earlier this week, we announced our second round of 2021 Inspire grants that will help expand and grow our recovery to work efforts. This round of grants totals $5.5 million and was awarded to 17 projects across 7 of our Appalachian states. 2 of those projects right here in Southern West Virginia. Almost $500,000 was awarded to Seed Sower Incorporated in Fayette County for their project supporting regional recovery ecosystems across Southern West Virginia. That project helps adult women maintain sobriety by providing them with safe transitional housing while educating them on the skills needed to re-enter the workforce. Almost $50,000 was also awarded to the West Virginia School of Osteopathic Medicine for their project, Recovery to Work, West Virginia, Greenbrier County. That project will identify workforce participation barriers for those in addiction recovery and support them in career planning, workforce training, and sustained employment. You see, overall, it is projects like these that give individuals a sense of purpose and belonging in our Appalachian communities. And it also shows that it is indeed a team effort. It includes your business community, your health community, your justice, your judicial community, the friends and neighbors, to continue to offer the support needed by these individuals to know that they're worthy of a second chance. They're worthy of the time and effort that's being invested in them so that they can regain their life and become a prosperous member of the community. So now, after I have transgressed, let's turn back to ARC's new strategic plan. And the third goal is to build Appalachia's infrastructure. We will work to ensure that all Appalachians have access to reliable and affordable utilities and broadband services, a necessity to compete in the modern global marketplace. And remember, we've been talking about we want to be able to compete. And as well as doing that, we will also work to complete the Appalachian Development Highway System. We still know that in order for a state to grow, it has to have a complete highway system. And so we still work. Ever since 1965, we've been working to make sure we get that completed. Our fourth goal is to build regional culture and tourism, going back to our greatest asset, the beauty of our land and our state. You know, one thing we saw during the recent COVID pandemic was that so many people were fleeing the cities to come to our region and enjoy the beauty of our natural assets and our rich culture history. We aim to build on that by investing in the development of vibrant Appalachian downtowns, like the ones we see in Southern West Virginia towns like Fayetteville and Lewisburg. And finally, our fifth goal is to build leaders and community capacity. We will help community organizations, local development districts, and elected officials to come together to best use funding and collaborate on a shared vision to better their communities. And that includes our new Appalachian Community Capacity Building Pilot Program that we plan to launch very soon to help communities best utilize their ARPA funding. We will also work to support a diverse roster of community leaders with programs like our Appalachian Leadership Institute. This institute allows leaders, business leaders from all over the Appalachian region to come together, to work together, to connect, to learn that you're not the only one that's having these challenges. These challenges are all over our region. Not only do people connect and learn from each other, but they stay connected so that we again are building on this emphasis that it's not about each little community. It's about the Appalachian region. And how do we lift up the Appalachian region to parity with the rest of the country? These are big and ambitious goals, and we know that we can only get these by working together, by working with you across county, across state lines, to help Southern West Virginia, all of West Virginia, all of the Appalachian region reach economic parity and equity with the rest of the county. You know, I've often said this, but at the end of the day, our zip codes should not ever define our destinies. You know, you may be able to tell, I'm pretty excited about the opportunities that we have in front of us. And I look forward to being able to work with each and every one of you, and not just by Zoom, in person, working together, coming together in West Virginia and also across our borders. And I look forward, most importantly, I look forward to the transformations that we can create across the Appalachian region together. Thank you all so much. It's just great being here.
Well, thank you so much, Federal Co-Chair Manchin. And you talked about that Appalachian Leadership Institute. And I have to tout myself because I am in the cohort this year, and I have been amazed. We just did orientation. We had a brief call yesterday to talk about travel arrangements. We're hopeful come February, we'll get to be together in Berea, Kentucky. It is a wonderful opportunity to meet doers from other states and to build your network. And I am very excited. And you do have reading assignments for that, as you know, Mrs. Manchin. But I have my first book here, Uneven Ground, and it's Appalachian since 1945. And we read that to talk about that during orientation. And I thought, you know, being born and raised in West Virginia, and I thought I knew a lot about Appalachia. You know, I worked for 2 governors, a United States senator, and traveled every county in the state. And, you know, I thought I knew a lot. I had no idea of the struggles, the lack of funding, the obstacles that Appalachia and Appalachians have had to overcome. And really, it is to put us at a disadvantage. Can you speak a little bit? I know we have a couple questions in chat, but can you start maybe there and talk about it's a culture thing. We have to overcome so much. Do you have any comments on that?
You know, Sarah, thank you. And I also read that book after I became the federal co-chair. And like you, I discovered a whole lot about Appalachia that I did not realize or fully understand. So I think it comes from several different angles, Sarah. I think we have grown too accustomed to people looking down on us and to where we just accept it, like that's just what it is. And yet we should be, I mean, so much of that is a part of our heritage, part of our culture, something that we should be so proud of, not allow other people to put us down. I think the second part is that you have, over the years, over the generations, you have had groups of people that were going to save us. And so they came in with big projects, big ideas, and a bucket of money. And so they threw out their big ideas. They were going to cure the ills, save the people. And unfortunately, the bucket of money ran out and they had built no foundation. They had built no sustainability. And so they leave. And so over the years, I think people in our small communities have become very skeptical that when people start running in, telling them, you know, we're going to save the world, they're just a little skeptical about that. And so one of the beauties of the ARC is that we don't go around running into communities saying we're going to save you and give you a bucket of money. But what we do say is that we want to work with you and we will give you a lot of support, but your ideas have to come from the grassroots up.
Yes, that empowerment, right? You're empowering the people in the community.
Because you all know best what your community needs and how it can best function. And you get buy-in. And then you go to your state and you say to your governor and the people there, this is what we need and want to do. And then the ARC becomes the third partner, so that it really is this partnership that starts at the grassroots level. And the third point that I would offer that and this was really stood out to me in the book, manufacturing and big industry is wonderful. I mean, we look at Toyota and what that has done for our economy and for the state of West Virginia. But at the end of the day, it's your little small businesses, your entrepreneurial people, those people that'll take a chance. That's what really makes your communities thrive. You know, and one business encourages another business, encourages another business. And the next thing you know, you have a new vitality in your downtowns. You've actually recreated your downtown. So, you know, it's a mix of all these, Sarah. I think what we have now is more knowledge than we used to have. We know some of the mistakes that we've made in the past. And now we have this opportunity working together with obviously a larger sum of money than we've ever had before to really be strategic. You know, let's not rush out and just, you know, let the money burn a hole in our pocket. We need to really sit down and prioritize and list, you know, these are the things we need to do and these are the order we need to do it, and then really stay focused, pull it together and move forward.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable opportunity that we probably won't see again. And you mentioned that. And so if I'm out in the community and I want to do something, whether it's broadband or some recovery support program, what's your advice to that doer in that small community? Where should he or she start? Should they go to their city? Should they go to the county? Do they start small and do a coalition? I mean, where do you begin?
Well, I think you really laid out a good plan there, Sarah. I think that's exactly, you start with your community, talk to your neighbors in neighboring communities, maybe a county perspective. If you're all suffering from the same lack, I mean, you all need the same thing. There's power in numbers. And so the bigger you can make that project, the more counties, the better your chance of getting the attention of your broadband provider. When you say, you know, we've got this region that we have a 6-county region that really needs broadband and broadband out to that last mile, how are you going to help us? Much more effective than every little community trying to reach out to that provider and say, what are you going to do? So again, I keep pushing this, crossing county lines, crossing state lines. And I'm even saying that to our governors. You know, governors, we need to work together. We don't need to be 13 separate states. We need to be 423 counties.
Yeah, I mean, the borders, I mean, they create silos in a lot of
Yes.
ways. And until we start breaking down, and that's what we try to do with the Alliance, right? You know, we're all individual competitors being higher ed, but really we serve West Virginia and West Virginia families and students. And so why not remove those borders and come together as higher education institutions to see what we can do and where we can fill in. And so we have actually talked about expanding the Alliance or taking it across state borders as well, just to kind of break through that red tape. You know, there's a lot of, you don't know if you're in a community and you need help from a higher education institution, you don't know where to start because it's like state government and it's intimidating, right? I mean, it's a little overwhelming. So I think you gave really good advice. We have time for 2 more questions. And one question that just came in is, what sectors for growth do you see in Appalachia? I mean, like from job, like business sectors, what do you think are the high points there?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that I've been seeing, and from some of your awards today, is taking advantage of whether it's our bee, our honey industry, agriculture. I mean, you look at some of our abandoned mine sites, people are growing mushrooms, they're growing lavender. I think going back to our soil, again, going back to our land, which is one of our biggest assets, and bringing back some of those skills that we did 100 years ago, that we haven't done for a long time. And I think that is, I mean, we've got good soil, we've got water, we've got all of what we need to really make agriculture a big part of our ecosystem. And then I think outdoor recreation, our trail system, our rivers and streams, our mountain biking, skiing, whitewater rafting. You know, these are things that draw people to our region. And so if we can capitalize on that, and why not build the kayaks? Why not provide the parts for the bicycles? I mean, I think that can be a part of our tourism recreation, but it could also be a part of our industry. I see those as 2 of the big sectors that's doable. I mean, people are already doing it. And so to just help and support that growth in that industry, I think is very important.
No, I completely agree. And, you know, you've hit the ground running when you were named co-chair. You were like, bam, you were in Washington, you were traveling around. You know, you wanted to see who you were representing, right? And I completely agree with that and respect that. And it must be very, very exciting. The last question is, you know, can you talk about your travels? And you know, you've been in there about 6 months now or something. Can you talk a little bit about your travels, maybe some interesting projects that you have seen in other states? and we can kind of end the conversation there.
Sure. Oh, it's been wonderful. I really did try to balance, Sarah, about learning more about a more in-depth knowledge of the ARC and how it operates and the wonderful people that we have working here, researchers, analysts. I mean, they're phenomenal. But then also, as you said, getting out to the states and seeing what they're doing and how has ARC money helped them. So one of the things I would mention to you in Kentucky, and this may be something you want to reach out to, they have a coalition in Kentucky called SOAR.
And they are actually speaking at the next our first breakout session today.
All right.
So, yeah, we're hoping to join together with them.
Yes, we're talking about crossing state lines. And so when we went to the SOAR Summit in Corbin, Kentucky, we saw a lot of the projects. They're doing a lot of support through their Pike Medical Hospital, Pike County Medical Hospital. And so wonderful things going on there. In Virginia, we went over there for our annual meeting in Abington, Virginia. We saw how they're building this great ATV trails on some of the old abandoned mine roads, which we're also doing in southern West Virginia. So another commonality of something we're doing there. In Ohio, we saw a couple of areas where they had gotten new clean water systems, which means so much to communities, and southern West Virginia certainly understands that. But also a couple of projects where that's working so well on this addiction to recovery, to work, to career, and really being successful. We were able to actually hear from patients that had gone into rehab, a young woman, a mother that had actually lost her children, and then actually was able to get her children back, get trained into a job, and continues to have that support all across the system in her community. And she's the first to say that's what has kept her able to thrive, is knowing that she has that support system. And then we were over in North Carolina. And again, they are doing a lot around outdoor recreation. And they have a whole eco industry system around building custom-made bikes, building the equipment that you need, backpacks, and all the things that you need if you're camping or hiking. So they are really pushing on this outdoor industry and capitalizing on it. And then just last week, we went up into Pennsylvania. And what I saw up in northeastern Pennsylvania is this great interaction between education, higher education, community colleges, and workforce. So they have a couple of industry there that's actually into aerospace manufacturing of parts, so pretty intricate type machinery. And so their community colleges are providing that specialized skill training for young people or people that have lost their jobs and want to come back for retraining. So as soon as they graduate, they pretty much have a job that they can go right into, and they're good paying jobs. So, I see that diversity, and it's just that energy level and the passion, but also it's working. And little communities are coming back because people are moving in, they're getting the training, they're getting the jobs, and they're establishing homes there. So we have a lot of opportunities, Sarah. I mean, you've said that in your comments. And if we don't take advantage of it, shame on us.
No, that's great. And this gives me hope because as you're talking from state to state, we have a lot of that, right? We have a lot of that same momentum, the ATV trail system, outdoor recreation, aerospace with North Central West Virginia and Beckley and Huntington efforts. And so this gives me hope, and it's inspiring. And so thank you so much, Mrs. Manchin, for giving your time to join us today on our community day. And we would love for you to come back next year if it fits in your schedule to provide us an update and highlight some maybe new projects that we get in the Mountain States. So thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely, Sarah. Thank you. It's just so good to see you.
It's so good to see you. We'll be together soon, I'm sure of it.
Okay.
Thank you. So that wraps up our morning session. Please, please, please tune in. We have about a 10-minute break. Come here at 11:10 today, 11:10 for game show giveaway. Test your knowledge and trivia on West Virginia and have an opportunity to win a $50 gift card to help with holiday shopping and festivities and food. And we hope you enjoy. This is on the same link. Again, breakout sessions this afternoon, 11:30, Kentucky Soar. Should be interesting. Let's figure out how we can work with this group moving forward. And then at 1 p.m., Community Foundation. They're the backbone. They make investments in our grants. Let's get to know the leaders and shakers of that group and how we can work with them. So those are different links. The game show is on this link in 10 minutes. See you soon. Thanks so much.